We all like to romanticize the idea that we'll get to our destination, wherever it is that we're trying to get to, that vision that we have for ourselves. And the way that's going to look is, we're going to work and toil and struggle, and we're going to find that golden nugget of information that's going to change everything. We're going to become an overnight success. There's a half-truth to that. There are big shifts that you will experience, and I'm sure you've experienced some already. But it's not the big shifts that are going to create the most impact in our life. Taking your phone to the bathroom while you're taking a shit. If you decided to not do that, imagine that every decision you're making is a vote towards a certain identity, a certain kind of person that you want to be. What kind of person would you be voting to be by not taking your phone to the toilet versus taking your phone to the toilet and spending 30 minutes scrolling versus just doing your business in 5 to 10 minutes, whatever, how long it takes you, and moving on with your day? Think about the long-term effects of exposing your mind to social media content consistently in that way, habitually. You have to shit every day. If you spend 30 minutes taking a shit in the morning, 30 minutes taking a shit in the evening, let's say, and you're scrolling on your phone, that's all garbage information that's being programmed into your subconscious mind and affecting your life in a very small way at first. But if you've read the book The Compound Effect by Maxwell Maltz, you know that small things add up and they accumulate to the point where they start to create what's called exponential results later on in your life. And so you might think that this little scrolling sesh doesn't really do anything right now because maybe you don't feel that different. Maybe you feel a little bit brain foggy or whatever. But you do that consistently enough, over enough time, you start to build that compound effect where your brain becomes massively affected by all of this junk that you basically put into it. And then you'll have months and weeks of just feeling foggy and tired and drained and confused, and you won't know why. Maybe you're already in that state right now. Maybe this is giving you some insight as to what you're experiencing right now. But that's just one example, right? Something like when you're out and about, you have an urge to, say hello to somebody, and you pass it up. Maybe you pass it up most of the time because it's a little bit uncomfortable. Deciding to do the thing that's a little bit uncomfortable, not too uncomfortable, you can do it. That little micro decision, that compounds. The more times you do that, the more you're casting a vote for the kind of person that says hello to people. The more natural that begins to feel. The more you begin to embody the spirit of that person. And then that becomes natural and easy, and it's no longer something difficult. It becomes a habit. Now, hopefully, you're starting to get the bigger picture here. You're starting to see how many different ways this can affect your life. See, we're not used to thinking about life in this way. We're not used to thinking about life in the little nitty-gritty ways. We're used to thinking about life in this way of like, okay, we need to find this grand strategy and then just like, this grand slam opportunity where we can just like win big, hit the lotto, $1 million overnight, whatever. We're not concerned with the details, I don't really care about the details. Let the details be the details. I want the big stuff. I want the good stuff. But the good stuff is actually in the details. See, all these little things are what accumulate to create something bigger. Every blade of grass in this field that I'm sitting in is needed in order to create the field. There would be no field without each individual blade of grass. But our brains, us as humans, we're very, I don't even know the word to use in this situation, but we don't really like to care about the details. We think it's insignificant. But that's one of our biggest shortcomings. That's what a lot of us, that's the way a lot of us are shooting ourselves in the foot. See, every time you make a decision that's a little bit uncomfortable, you're expanding your world by 1%, right? You're pushing yourself a little bit outside of this little bubble that you are used to. And the more you do that, the more little 1%s that you add in every little area, you start to notice these little opportunities in life. You feel this urge to go eat a cookie. Instead, you say, I'm going to eat an orange. 1%. You say, you know what? I don't feel like hitting legs today. I'm going to do it anyways. 1%. Maybe that's 5%, you know? It's a little bit more effort. You start to build your willpower. You start to build your strength. The more of these little things that you do, the easier it gets to do bigger things, like hitting the leg day or going and doing something really outside of your comfort zone. You know, maybe you go try a new hobby that you've been thinking about, but you've been procrastinating because you have all these excuses. And what are these excuses being generated by? These excuses are being generated by your mind. Your mind, which is this thing, right, that you're used to identifying with, has all these thoughts and it's constantly thinking and analyzing and figuring things out. And you think that's you, but it's not actually figuring out anything. Your mind's not figuring out shit. It's just ruminating on the same 5 or 6 problems from different angles and creating stress and creating anxiety. So that you can then relieve that anxiety by scrolling or watching porn or watching a movie or eating. And so you're stuck in this hamster wheel cycle of overthinking, getting stressed out, self-soothing. And you're not really changing much, are you? It's because you're trying to change through your mind. You're trying to think your way out of this. You can't think your way out of this. There's no thinking that's going to get you out of this. That's what got you in this place in the first place. So you need to stop thinking so much and just feel. Feel when something feels off, wrong. You know when you're craving that cookie, you know that's not what's good for you. You feel it. Just don't. Just make a different decision. It's not about avoiding the cookie. Go eat an orange instead. Right? When you're walking around outside and your phone buzzes, I got a notification. Instead of looking at the phone, choose to look up at the sky and take a breath. There's a vulture flying directly in front of me right now. It's a very beautiful blue sky in the background, big clouds. Something to appreciate. So many of us can't even look up at the sky and appreciate it because our minds are so numb. But that's not permanent. If you feel that way now, if your mind feels numb and you're looking up at the sky, you're like, okay, it's the sky, so what? That's not permanent. See, when you start to make these small decisions, when you start to lessen the distractions in your life, you start to reclaim that dopamine that you've sacrificed, that dopamine that you've given up so freely to the mega corporations that want to steal your attention, right? You think that this is entertainment. You're scrolling, you're on the internet, you're eating Doritos. Yeah, it's just good stuff. I like this stuff. No, you're a slave. They've enslaved you in their sensory. I don't even know the word. They've hijacked your senses. Essentially, companies have hijacked your senses. They've figured out ways to take control of your little monkey brain and make you do stuff that's going to profit them more. And in the meanwhile, they've convinced you that it's what you like doing. This is way too bright. Let me turn that down. They've convinced you that you actually like this stuff. I like Doritos. I love scrolling. It's so funny. Just like the Romans with the Colosseum. Give them bread and the games, and they won't notice that the empire is collapsing and that we've, basically tricked them all. This is a circus. Don't pay attention to all the garbage that they're trying to feed you. Start releasing that. You have the choice. You have the ability to say no. You have the ability to make a small decision, like not eating the Doritos or not looking at your phone. And you don't have to be perfect with this. You don't have to go to war with yourself. But just the opportunities that you can take, start noticing them and start taking them. Put a little bit of effort, and it gets easier. The more opportunities that you take, the easier it gets, the more you build your willpower, and then you start taking bigger opportunities. And you start casting votes for that version of you that's making the right choices and that's doing the right things. And then you just start doing it. And you stop overthinking so much. You stop analyzing so much. You stop ruminating on the same 6 problems so much. And you just start actually being the person. You just fucking do it. So hopefully this made some sense. Boring consistency. Just those small little steps. It's boringly consistent. But if you could be consistent in it, then the results that it'll produce in your life are massive, more massive than any of these big shifts. And these big shifts will happen a lot more often, believe it or not, because you're building momentum on the macro scale. See the macros, well, at least to the micro scale, not macro scale, my bad. Anyways, that's pretty much it. If you want one-on-one coaching, link is in the description. Love you guys. Peace.